Hello, welcome to another episode of the Cool Tools Show and Tell. Our special guest this week is Brady Forrest. Brady, would you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hey, Kevin, thanks for having me on. I live in San Francisco. I'm married, and I spend my days in tech and working in places associated with tech. So I'm currently head of biz dev at MobileCoin, which is a privacy protecting cryptocurrency, currently available in Signal Messenger. And I help my wife run Ignite Talks. And if you're not familiar with an Ignite Talk, it's a 5-minute talk where people get 20 slides, 15 seconds a slide for a total of 5 minutes on stage. And those happen all over the world.
And they're fantastic. It's amazing how much you can learn from 5 minutes. They're very hard to do, by the way. They're very hard to do. So, Brady, well, it's really great to have you here. We've known each other for a while, but I'm really interested in hearing what your picks for some of your favorite cool tools are. What's your first suggestion for our listeners?
Sure. So when you asked me, I thought about it, and I realized there were 4 things that I am constantly selling to people. And by selling, I mean, you should get this. Yeah, no, I have no benefit at all. And the number one thing, and also the most expensive thing, is the Tonal. And so I've been a big believer in resistance training for a long time, been lifting weights all my life. But I've never seen the kind of progress or compliance to my desired regimen as I do with this system. And I met the entrepreneur in his early days, and I watched the company, and I waited until I felt they were sustainable to actually take the plunge. And so the system is right behind me on the wall. And it's not just recreating a weight system like what you have with dumbbells. Instead, the way I phrase it is, it's playing a different game. And so they have an electromagnetic resistance system. And so they can dial up the resistance during a rep. And so when I go into exercise in the morning, it remembers exactly what I did the previous 2 years of ownership. It knows how tired my muscles are. And it knows that for me to progress in my goals, and one of my goals is to build muscle, that I need to go up. Progressive overload is what it's called, in weight. And so it will change the weight as I come in. And that's always been one of the problems with weightlifting, is remembering the exact amount you did last time. And then can you go up 2.5 pounds? Can you go up a pound, 5 pounds that next time? Here, they take care of it, and they'll go up as little as a pound. And the beauty of this is they also have different modes for doing the weights. And so it's not just heavy while going up and heavy while going down. It can be heavy while going up and then heavier while going down, also known as negatives or eccentric. And that's been shown in studies to actually even increase your strength and build muscle.
Okay.
And they have their own modes that kind of change based on how strong you are in a certain area for a movement.
So that's the intent and goal. And just describe a little bit about the actual tool. So right now on your wall behind you is a long thing, looks more like, I don't know, an ironing board size device that's on the wall, and maybe as tall as you are. It has a big screen on it, a big LED, like a monitor vertically. And then where are the weights attached, or where does that come in? What do you lift or do?
Sure. So the weights are all internal to the machine. It's just an electromagnetic resistance plate that simulates weights. And so on front, you'll see there's a bunch of different user profiles. So I don't know how many people can use it, but I think we have 10 on this machine. And so I'm now logging into my account right now. And it shows a bunch of programs that I can do. It shows my strength score, which is now 795 across upper body, lower body, and core. How many workouts I've done? 312, and that I've lifted over 2.4 million pounds since I've had this machine.
So show me the that's the screen. There's lots of information there, but what do you actually do? What do you move?
Sure. So you can do 200 different movements, as I recall, and so I'm going to load up a tricep workout. So here it's got the tricep loaded up.
So and you're pushing. It's a touch screen, so you're pushing all the different things on the screen.
Yep. And so there are two arms on the side.
Okay.
And so I'm going to modify this arm.
I see. So it's like a it looks like a kind of a broom handle, a really thick pipe that swings out.
Yeah, and these lock into place. And so I can lower it down. So I can lower these down to the floor to do bench press. And I'm going to do a tricep extension, which is where I'm pulling down to show you some of the different modes. Right. And so these are the attachments,
which are hanging on the wall, and there's sticks and kind of like a piece of rope.
Yeah. And they, one of the nice things about it is you can also, because the weights are digital, you can turn the weight on and off. So you can get into position with no weight and then turn it on, which reduces injury.
Okay.
And you can also buy more of these attachments so that you can add your own and make your own exercises.
Okay. All right. And so he showed a little rope that has just a connector. There are different handles that you can add, I guess.
And so right now the weights are turned off.
Okay.
And so, I'm just kind of doing this, but.
And you were hitting a foot pedal to turn it on?
Yep.
Okay.
So you can see the movement at the top, and you can see at the bottom that when I get through the movement, the weight goes from 32 to 40 for my negative.
Right. Okay. Okay, great. So so you also can see in real time what's actually happening by the second.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really great. Okay, so the bad news, how much does it cost?
It costs, I think it's all in about like $2,500 for the machine, $250 for installation, and then some more for the attachment. So I think you're looking at about $3,000.
Okay.
And you can finance that, and then about $50 a month for the software. And it's really, unlike a Peloton, it's basically worthless without the service. But if you look at it over time, it's about equal to a gym plus a trainer. So I view it as a replacement for a trainer, not just your gym.
Right. And it is like a Peloton in the sense that it is a very high-tech version of a regular home workout place. And it does collapse pretty well to minimal size once it's about 6 inches looks like out of the wall, but you do need a wall space presumably, or do they have freestanding versions as well?
No, this is just, it needs to be mounted to a wall.
Okay, great.
The professional staff will come in and move it.
I see. Is it that heavy?
It's definitely doing a lot of it. Well, you're putting a lot of torque on it when you're lifting.
I see.
150, 200 pounds. It can go up to 200 pounds, 100 pounds on each arm.
Okay.
So you're really pulling against the wall with that.
Okay.
But I've seen these in people, small apartments in San Francisco where it's in the living room, or people have it in their office and they move their desk aside.
Sure.
And then work out.
Okay. Well, great. That's fantastic. I knew nothing about that, and I'm so glad to know. Thanks for sharing that. So, Brady, what's another tool that you'd like to share?
Sure. So another one that I am constantly telling people about is Biotics. And Biotics are proudly GMO, and they basically are a drink that you have before you drink alcohol. And so when you drink alcohol, your body creates acetaldehyde, which is what gives you a hangover. And one of the things that messes up your liver. And this product consumes acetaldehyde.
Oh.
And it lasts for about 18 hours.
Huh.
I and many of my friends have road tested this very, very hard. What I found is I drink, I still get bad sleep, I still feel a buzz from alcohol, but I do not wake up hungover and with a headache and just feeling terrible. I can tell that I drank. I've had bad taste in my mouth, and I'm not like I've had that bad taste in my mouth, but still gotten up and gone and worked out on the tonal right after because I feel fine.
Yeah.
A friend of mine had, when she hit 30 or so, she suddenly found that she would start to get hungover within an hour of having more than one drink. This has changed her. Like, she can now go out and enjoy a glass of wine or two.
Wow. Cool.
My wife and I have taken this split. These are only 15 milliliter bottles. It costs, depending on in what quantity you buy them, $6 to $8 per. We buy them at the cheapest price level and just keep them here.
Right.
And if we're going to have more, we're opening a bottle of wine for the night, more than 2 drinks, we have one, or at least share one.
Wow. Huh.
And it really works. This is not like the BS, like vitamin B, hangover cure, have it beforehand thing. Like I've started giving just one to at birthdays and for anything like that, just to introduce it to people.
And do you know what the actual compound is that you're taking?
No.
Okay.
No, I do not. I have not looked into that. Or at least I don't remember, and I didn't look into it before this episode.
I was just wondering what it was.
A highly trademarked
okay.
probiotic that they have developed at their lab in Berkeley.
And probiotic means, what does that mean in this context?
I think it is an organism that they have grown that has been shown to eat acetaldehyde, and that
it's like a yogurt. It's actually there is an alive organism in the solution of some sort, like a yeast or a. Okay, that's the theory. Alrighty.
There may be more information on their website, and honestly,
but it works.
It just works. And I mean, the way I got it was a friend kept telling me about it, and then we happened to be somewhere together, and he's like, "Here, take one, and you'll see what I'm talking about." And I ordered a pack the next day.
Yeah. Okay, great. Biotic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. C's the day after.
Alrighty. That's fantastic. Okay, so Brady, your third tool.
Yeah. So I've been going to Burning Man now since 2000. So it's 18 different burns, and I've never been one to bring an RV. And over the years, I've brought many different tents. But as I've gotten older and started to scale up the villages, we've had, power, and we've been looking for like the right tent for Burning Man. And there's a small company out of Napa that was started by a bunch of burners specifically to make glamping tents that are easy to set up, insulated, spacious, dust-free, and easy to move. And that's called a Shiftpod. And
Okay.
inside, it's about 8.5 feet long. It's a little over 6 feet tall. So I'm about 5'11". I can walk around in mine. It's got two doors. It's got zipper screens so that I can open it up. And if there happen to be bugs around, and it's got ports for power cords and for air conditioners.
Wow.
And so it's insulated enough for an air conditioner,
Okay.
which allows you to sleep later when you're at Burning Man in the Black Rock Desert of
Wow.
Nevada.
Wow.
And it takes about 2 minutes to set up.
Huh. And so it looks kind of like a geodesic dome, but it's probably not really geodesic, but it has that kind of look to it. It's also has kind of a silvery aluminum look to it, which is the reflective light. So it's kind of like a tent, but tell me, how is it better than a tent?
Well, if you want air conditioning or some sort of cooler, and you
Right.
can also get a swamp cooler, which is just using evaporative cooling,
Right.
then you want something that's insulated. Most tents are not insulated. And
Okay.
so you might as well run the air conditioner in the middle of the desert.
Okay.
Two, when you take it out, you just kind of lay it flat and it pops up. So you don't have to find the poles. You don't have to stake it down. I mean, you do have to stake it down, but you don't have to get out funny guy wires. Like, you literally just start pulling out these poles that are on a flexible system.
Wow.
And they grab that mechanism from a line of ice fishing tents. So you can actually find a much cheaper version of all these in terrible colors on Amazon. And in fact, our friend Xander Rose has a one of these ice fishing tents that he uses at Burning Man.
Okay. So they were originally developed to do ice fishing in the cold rather than in the heat of Burning Man.
No, the pop out mechanism.
Oh, I see.
And then Shiftpod licensed this technology and put it into a much more lucrative market, which is Burning Man glamping. So, I mean, I take it to other festivals and campouts around the Bay Area, and then they have a cheaper version that they do for disaster housing.
Right. And so, when it's all compact, how big of a load is it? Does it fit? Would it fit into the back of a car, or do you need a van or SUV or something?
So we have a small city car, and we're able to fit it in with the seats down.
Okay.
And it goes up between my wife and I as we're heading out.
Wow.
Weighs about 70 pounds, the latest one.
Right.
And so it's probably about 9 feet tall. The bag is spacious, and it's pretty easy to fit it in there.
And you can stand up inside?
Easily.
Okay.
Easily. And we keep lights strung up around it.
Right. Interior.
So that it just stays set up in some ways.
And so the air conditioning, so you have a generator that runs the air conditioning?
Yeah, we had a 125 kilowatt generator for our camp this year. We had 200 people. We had a Tesla coil as one of our projects on the Esplanade for that was for our village. Right.
And it does have an air conditioned unit?
Or you buy that separately.
Separately, okay. And did you just buy the smallest portable one you can find?
Yeah, they actually recommend one. It's one of the window units, and so the floor unzips, which is nice because if the floor gets messy, you can wash it. You never dry it, and you can then pop this small portable unit right directly on the ground, which takes up very little space. It's very efficient. It's like half the load of a larger unit.
And they're also showing the price of about 100 or 1,600, but it's maybe sold out.
They'll get more. They're just having, as you're well aware, Kevin, there's shipping issues.
Yep.
This is what the inside looks like. This honeycomb.
It's really cool. There's it's kind of a techie looking thing inside. Like a quilt-ish. Well, okay, that's really great. Brady, we can
Oh,
go
and
back.
here's like some of the ports for the air conditioner.
Uh-huh. Got it. Got it. Right. There's a little kind of a flap that they've made.
And here are the dimensions. So wall to wall, 11.5 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that's really fantastic.
50, yeah, 68 pounds.
Uh-huh.
Center height, 6'11".
Yeah. And about 70 pounds, as you say. So, okay, you can go back
Okay.
to yourself and we'll try and
Well, I think
share.
the next thing I'm going to show is also a website. So I might as well just keep the share going, right?
Okay.
So as you may have been able to tell, I'm into fitness. And so I wanted to share a fitness-oriented doctor and health-oriented doctor that I subscribe to and pay a lot of attention to. And it's a gentleman by the name of Peter Attia. He has a boutique practice. I think it's in Austin, though I'm sure it's all virtual. And he has a research staff that publishes research that would normally only be available to these high-end clients. And he'll do a weekly podcast. And the podcasts are available, like anyone can subscribe to the podcast. But what gets really interesting is if you're a subscriber, you get these incredibly detailed notes, which is more how I learn. Or if I learn about something, I can go to his website and do a search on it. And inevitably, one of his 300 guests, or I guess it's 223 different podcasts, has covered the topic in some capacity.
Uh-huh.
And so a big thing that he's focused on, and he and I are about the same age, in our 40s, is the centenarian decathlon, which is what are all the things you want to be able to do when you're like 80? And to start thinking in terms of how do you maximize your health span. So your physical fitness, emotional, mental, and social capabilities for that age.
So this is sort of, you can subscribe to his, get his deeper information, and then there's an AMA. Maybe you, as a subscriber, you have a chance to ask him questions as well.
Yeah, you can submit questions in his forums.
Right.
And then
And
when they get enough questions on a topic, that's when they'll do an AMA on that topic.
I see. Okay. So this is kind of high level performance where you're doing as much measurement as you possibly can. You are um, the kinds of things that he is suggesting are maybe nutritional as well as workout and other things as well. What generally is the scope of the kinds of advice that you're getting?
It's a balance of workout. So probably, your typical workout would be do some strength training and cardio. But this is do 20, do this small amount of intense cardio and then do a long amount of very low intensity cardio.
Yeah.
Plus also flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
So diving into the next level where he explains exactly how much he does, and then also looking into sleep and nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
He generally, though, the spoiler alert is he just comes back to sleep and exercise. He thinks people over maximize nutrition. So he doesn't really focus on that very much.
Okay. All right, great. Okay. Well, so we'll have a link to his website where you can subscribe or get his research. And Brady, in our last remaining minutes, tell us about what your current passion project is, or what you're really excited about these days. Maybe what you're working on, or what you personally would like to share with our audience.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I'm working on MobileCoin, and this is a project that I got involved in when it first started up in 2017, when one of the founders of Signal Messenger helped develop a protocol for MobileCoin, which is a private, fast, privacy-protecting cryptocurrency that could be used for payments in Signal. And I joined the team after a couple of years in 2019. I've now been there for 3 years. And we have now released our own very, very simple first-party wallet called Mobi. And we are in the process of opening up the waitlist for that. And what we're really aimed at is cheap, private, cross-border payments, all while being, compliant. We're a US company. We're all US citizens. We want to keep our citizenships intact.
Mm-hmm.
And
so the Mobi, from the user point of view, what's the advantage? Why do I want Mobi?
Picture it as a Cash App for the world.
Mm-hmm.
So Cash App goes from bank to bank, very, very easy, super simple to spend money, but it only works within the US. And all of your transactions and all of your financial data, whoever you transact with, is then stored in a database that other people can mine and build profiles on you.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Venmo, same with all these other payment apps. And so in our case, we want to create a system that is against surveillance capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
And so peer-to-peer transactions are not monitored. The blockchain itself is fully encrypted. And the only place where you have to do KYC and report your transactions are to regulated entities.
So
banks, exchanges.
So it's a so it's like a, what's the word, encrypted. Well, of course, blockchain is encrypted, but it's like a version of Venmo that is not being tracked. But you're not really necessarily anonymous, or are you?
You're not anonymous when interacting with people, because you're really doing peer-to-peer, so to your friend group. And then if you're interacting with a bank, you have to identify yourself to a bank.
Right.
To cash out of the network.
Mm-hmm. And so what are you finding, I don't know if you have beta users right now, but what do you find about how people use it? What kind of users are using it for, et cetera, et cetera? Is it just sort of like a layover of the same uses of Signal as the messaging, and like whoever's using Signal is kind of using this and for similar purposes? Is that a good correspondence?
We're just rolling it out right now. Like, we're behind the wait list. Right. The link I just sent you is my personal link. And so we literally just added that this morning, is the ability to join from someone else's link. And another thing that's about to come out is, like, I'll be able to send you $1.
Right.
And then you can create your wallet to get that $1, or to get that MOB is the currency. And so we're finding right now, when our user base is super small, it's mostly for settling up between friends.
Right.
Out at the bar, they have some MOB because they can. Is it worth my sharing the screen for this?
No, I think we can see that. It's
okay. But I can fund from my credit cards through Apple Pay and Google Pay. I can cash out to a crypto exchange, soon to a bank.
Right.
And where I think we're going to see this show up is for influencers and creators who want tipping from fans around the world. Like, it's very expensive to tip someone on Patreon if you live overseas. Our transaction fees are $0.0025 per transaction. And they go cross-border, full finality in under 10 seconds.
Okay. So the main attraction may actually not be within the US, but for other people around the world who want to interact with the commerce in the US. And this enables them a way of doing that is not just cheaper than existing ones, but also maybe more secure in the sense of less oversight. But you can move money in and out from dollars and back through credit cards or banks. Yeah. And that is traced or reported at that point, right? Exactly. That's the complaint.
We've tried to make this consider this like cash. That's what we've tried to make. So this is self-custodial, meaning you have the keys. The keys never leave your device. and it's only at a point of conversion that your transactions are reported. And what you would report is between you and your accountant,
Right.
just like cash transactions.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And we are about to roll out a stable coin on this network
Mm-hmm.
that it'll accept from the same public address, and it will cost the same. And that'll be a fiat-backed stable US dollar that's also fully encrypted, fast, designed for mobile.
Okay. All right. So Mobi is the name of the wallet and the system?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And MobileCoin is the name of the protocol.
Right. Okay. Well, and that link that you sent me, is that a public link or is that just for me?
That's a public link.
Okay.
And so if anyone goes to there and they wanted to, so right now it's behind a wait list because we're still fine tuning the features.
Sure.
And so if anybody wanted to try it out, they could try it out through my link.
Right. Okay. Well, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And I'll see you November 8th at Club Fugazi.
Already.
Ignite
talk. Again. So, Brady, thank you for your great tools, many of which I didn't know anything about. So I'm always delighted to be introduced to new ones. Thanks for sharing. We appreciate it and have a good day.
Yeah. Thanks, Kevin. Take care.
We're glad that you enjoyed this issue of the Cool Tools Show and Tell. Just want to remind you that we have some other coolish material on our YouTube channel here. Please subscribe, comment, like. In addition, this Cool Tools Show and Tell is also available in an Audible podcast form. You can subscribe to it wherever you subscribe to other podcasts if you just wanted to listen. And if you're listening, know that there is a visual version of this on our YouTube channel where we're actually showing the tools, and there's a little bit more of a visual component there. In addition, the same folks that put us, the Cool Tools website out, we also put out a free newsletter every week. It's very, very short. It's 1 page or less. We recommend 6 very brief items that are very succinct, easy to read. You can deal with it in a couple minutes. And every week we bring to you the 6 cool things that we have uncovered and want to share. And it's called Recommendo with 1 M, recommendo.com. You'll be able to find it there. It's free. Join 50,000 plus other subscribers every Sunday morning. You'll get it in your email box. And it's actually one of the most popular things that we produce. But we do produce other newsletters as well. One of them is called What's in Your Bag. We have one that goes out to tools and tips for your workshop. So you can get those at our website, and they are also free. And finally, I want to mention the fact that we do have a Patreon, and this podcast and this vidcast are supported by Patreon supporters. The minimum is $1 a month. And for that, you get an email to ask us anything. We'll respond and answer your question if we're able to. There are other higher levels. You can all see those at our Patreon page. And all those links are below right here. So thank you again for being a fan. And we'll keep producing stuff if you enjoy it. Thanks. Thank you to this week's patrons, who include John Omer, Andrew Smith, Tom Hanks, Michael Brisson, Steve Golden, Nick Gray, Cindy Sherman, Thomas Off, Rel Deshaw, and Sean Living. Thank you all.